Yes, we are live, Côme. Finally.
We're live.
Wow,
Yes.
what a challenge. Anyway, so sorry for the little delay that we had here. We had to switch to our backup internet line for some reason, but we're good here. There we are. Thank you for sticking around. And today is an exciting day because we are going to have a few interesting things, including live coding. Well, I will not be the person that will be live coding. You will be Côme.
Me neither.
No, you're not?
No.
Okay. Well, we'll have guests that will be doing that. But for now, well, thank you all for joining, and let's get this started. Let me have my chat in front of me so that I can talk to you guys. Okay, there it is. So let's start with, well, quite a few people here. Thank you for joining. So the first question I have for you today, well, other than the weather and where do you come from as a country, because that's important for me every single time. There's something that the company has to do at some point to move into a remote company, right? Around COVID, it was a challenge, and we said like, okay, why not make that big move and move to be a remote company? And since we did this move and it's working well for us, but there are many challenges for people to adapt to this, including, how do you work from home and what's your setup and where do you work from? And here's the question that we're suggesting for today. Where do you work most frequently from home? Like, is it from, I don't know, is it from, there is an office that you set up for this? Is it a kitchen table, the backyard, the bedroom, living room, or somewhere else? What is it? Where is it that you work from? And let's start with you, Côme. Where do you work from?
So today I'm in the office.
Yes, today you are in the office. We see it.
So I usually come once a week, like once or twice a week, usually at the office.
Cool.
So I would say I'm hybrid, and rest of the time I'm home. And
where from?
Paris. Yeah.
No, but home, like, is it in the bedroom? Is it in?
It actually depends.
Like, you have an office that you set up for work?
I don't really have an office. I'm kind of a nomad in my own home.
Okay, so you move around.
Yeah, I move around. But usually I start
you
in the kitchen in the morning.
You start in the
take
kitchen?
my coffee. And
nice. Okay, cool.
And then sometimes go to kind of living room or in the bedroom, or have like
so you keep moving around,
setup.
but you start. It depends. Like, you start on the kitchen table or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. Well.
Yeah.
Well, we have some answers on the chat. There is not enough space for a space office. So from bedroom, there's not enough space for making a dedicated office place. I understand. For Dave, and there is Louise, a small segment of my bedroom is my office. Okay, yeah, a lot of people adapted to it that way, right? That's cool. Tony from the bedroom, yeah. And then you have to hide everything inside, right? So it doesn't look in the call. So it's good that we have this blur screen in Google. And it's cool. And there is Andre has a home office where the sun hits in the morning. That's cool. I like starting in the morning with the sun. That's really cool. And Dianca has a dining room to get a lot of sunlight most of the day. Okay, that's nice. Keep telling us, where do you work from? I see Nuha is working from her living room. That's cool. It's good to be able to work. I mean, I hope you have a table there, because sitting on the couch for the whole day working is like
it's good sometimes, but like you can get
from time to time. But then sometimes you get like like a chewing gum or something.
Yeah.
Cool. So today we have several things that we're going to go through, but mostly is we're going to rewrite a website in Next.js.
I think so, and not
any website.
Any website.
Yeah, it's an important website.
Yeah. It's a great website.
Yeah. So today we're going to rewrite Alicia Keys' website.
Who is Alicia Keys?
Everyone knows, right? I don't have to introduce. But and the website, they are actually using Prismic.
Yeah.
But today we're going to make for an exercise to rewrite the website using Next. Actually, the original website, I guess it's using Next and Prismic. And today, Alex and Hamid are going to rewrite it So that's a good opportunity for us also to see how there are several things, how to break the website into sections and how to implement each of the sections. And then also we'll be able throughout the live to talk about certain things that we're working on and or that we worked on on the product and Slice Machines. That will be good. So maybe is it the time that we introduce our guests? I guess it is, right? Can we introduce the guests? Are we ready? In 2 minutes. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm going to let's see. So let's see how people are working from the office. I see Samuel. What did Samuel say? Well, I didn't see Samuel in there. Well, Alex says, I'm lucky to have a bedroom converted to an office. Okay, your office is great. Come on, Alex. I mean, you're really good. Sorry? We're ready to welcome the guests. Okay, let's get the guests in. Okay. It's coming. Cool.
Okay.
Hey, there we go.
Hey.
Hello.
There you
hear me?
No, I cannot hear
Hello,
you.
hello.
Hello.
No, you cannot hear me. But you're responding to the thing that I said. Wait a minute. The important thing is, can chat hear me, and can they hear Hamid? Hamid, want to say hello?
Yep. Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me? I can hear you, Alex.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. We
Perfect.
can hear you.
We'll just see
Yes.
if chat says
Cool.
yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Nice. Well, good to have you around here.
Good to see you guys.
Especially that I got a little bit scared that it's me who's going to code, and I was like, if the guests are not here, I need to do it myself, and I don't know, I'm a bit rusty on that.
Hamid and I both sprained our fingers, so actually we were going to ask if you could, Sinek. Would that be all right? We just pulled an ACL.
I'm
in our thumb,
I'm already.
Perfect. Are you giving us an intro, or should
I would like you to introduce yourself.
All right, Hamid, do you want to go for it?
Okay. So, hey, everyone. My name is Hamid. Super stoked to be here with the Prismic team. My second time doing a live stream, so bear with me. I'm a developer based in Toronto, Canada. And currently, I'm a freelance web developer, content creator on YouTube and educator. I have a channel, and I do create content mostly about React and Next.js. And today, I'll walk you through replicating Alicia Key's site with the help of Alex here to implement slices and use Prismic and the Slice Machine to create and model our content. And then hopefully we can make it look nice and similar to the site. You can check me out on YouTube, or my site is ahmedbahram.io. I think the links will be in the chat somewhere.
Yeah, we're going to post it in the chat. You do Next.js courses there, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Nice.
I have
Super
a
cool.
Next.js course that I've been working on. It will come out probably at the end of April sometime. But I also share what I learn. I write notes or create videos about the tech that I'm using on the projects that I'm building. And that's me. So I'll pass it to you, Alex.
And actually, you started coding during the lockdown. Is that true?
Yeah. So I've always loved it to code, and I have dabbled into it before, but I was busy. Never had a time to kind of sit down and just do it properly until the lockdown. The lockdown just gave me a little buffer, and I was like, you know what? If I can do it anytime in my life, probably this is it.
It's now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I did it, and I just fell in love with it even more than before, to the extent that it's all I'm doing right now.
Cool. Well, that's a great change. And by the way, nice setup.
Thank you.
We were talking about working from home, and you have a nice setup.
Thank you.
So, Alex.
Hey, I'm Alex. I am the developer experience lead here at Prismic. Lucky enough to work with Côme and Sadek every day. It's a lot of fun. We work on the SDKs that you use to build Prismic sites. We also try to help out around Prismic and try to make the developer experience as good as we can make it. So that's what the DevX team does, and I get to lead that. And today I get to learn a bit from Hamid in terms of he is a community member who is building sites and creating content and everything around Prismic. So I just came in for a little bit here and there, and I'm going to kind of be asking him questions as we go. But yeah, we have a super cool site in Alicia Keys that has some fun like scroll effects and everything. And at its core, I think the coolest thing is that it's a full impressive site, but it's only built with just a few slices, and I'm excited to kind of show, or I'm excited to watch Hamid build those slices and kind of see what you can create with so little because of the power of slices.
Yeah, this is beautiful, and I'm looking forward to look at that, to see you doing that. And you're joining from New Haven, right? From United States.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm over East Coast. So if the audience knows New York City, I'm like a couple hours from there. Yeah. No one knows New Haven, Connecticut. Everyone knows New York. So I'm pretty much in New York. Yeah.
But so we have East Coast, Canada, and here we are in Paris. It's pretty international stream today.
Yeah. Toronto's super cool. All right.
So let's get started.
Do we want to kick off? Yeah. So if we want to show my screen, first off, I do just want to shout out Hamid's site real quick. As we had it, I don't think we're sharing my screen just yet.
But while doing that,
screen, Alex, actually,
sorry,
we don't see you.
I'm sorry.
Are you sharing right now? Are you sharing?
I am, but right I don't. So I usually stream and I'm able to push that button, but I don't have that button over on my side. Someone needs to. Am I not sharing my screen? Is that what they're saying? I definitely am.
Okay.
Oh, is that what they're saying though? That they don't see my screen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't have it. But we have Ahmed's screen, but we don't have yours.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, while we're trying to figure out that, I didn't introduce you, Côme. I'm probably people know you already, but I owe you to an introduction. So, Côme, you're our product manager for Slice Machine project, for the dev tools part.
For the dev tools, exactly.
Yeah. So basically, you work with a multifunctional team of researchers, engineers, testers, and all to bring features for the developers that use Prismic, right?
Yeah, that's well said. So before we are the Slice Machine team, we are actively working on especially Slice Machine. Today we have a bit broader scope, so we are focused on like the whole developer experience at Prismic. And yeah, we have I think we're 12 now in the team.
12, yeah, that's a big team.
Yeah, it's a big team. We have like 2 designers, 1 full-time researcher. So yeah, pretty lucky to have that very.
And there's a lot to discover and a lot to learn throughout the way. So I really love that product and how is it evolving. Do we have the screen? Is it any better? Because Alex is it's still not. It's coming. Okay, it's coming, Alex. I mean, they're trying. They kind of to connect the stream to that you pushed.
No worries. All good. I just want to make sure that I'm doing my part right. You know what I mean? Because I know technical difficulties and whatnot. I think we might be sending a black, just nothing.
Yeah, it's back. It's back.
There we go.
It's back.
Okay, cool.
So, also, in the process we'll go not only in the code. If I believe I'm right, it's we're going also in the whole process of breaking the website into smaller sections, right? So there's maybe part that you're going through Figma or something. Is it right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's really the only reason we need to share my screen. If we need to jump to Hamid I can talk through with him, that we can do that.
I feel that we have your screen.
I think it's good now.
Yes. Okay. We do have your screen. That's cool. Yeah. Okay.
It's coming.
Do you see it now, Alex? Okay, now I know.
Prismic. If you don't have this little plugin, you should check it out. Wappalizer. There's also like a built with thing that shows you like what sites are built with. So we can see this is Prismic and Next on Netlify. They're using GSAP for the scroll features. And yeah, it's just nice to kind of peel back sites and see what CMS are they using, what framework are they using, that sort of thing. But just the proof there that this is a Prismic site. And as we scroll, let me make sure it's scrolling. Why is it not scrolling? Let's try this again. All right, there we go. So as we scroll, we see we get this cool little effect at the top where that shrinks down, the background blurs out. And as we go through these sections, we notice that as we get to the bottom of each of these sections, they pin like at the bottom, and then they start to blur as the other one slides on top. So we have a little bit of a different setup to a typical website, right? Like this isn't how normal websites act, but it's a pretty cool effect. And we're going to be adding that in at the end today.
Very nice. And also, Alex, like I always thought of like, okay, when we break a website into sections and use slices, what about these kind of animations that happen between the slices? And here you're bringing this up, right? Okay, there's still interaction between them that can happen, and you're going to show us this. So that will answer my question.
And it's actually simpler than you might think. Like when I first saw this, like, it's gonna take me some time to recreate. But with green sock scroll trigger, really didn't take long at all, and it's a pretty cool effect. But as you can see, each one of these is a slice, right? So we have like this heading, it's like an H2, then a little bit of text there for shop now. I'll do a different one. That is so tough to read. Anyway, that one's a really, really tough one. We have this H2 and then the text underneath, and then we have an image. And there's also like a theme kind of thing where like some are black and white, some are this like gray, some have the blue and yellow.
So
but like
you added the theme in as well. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to handle that, right, Hamed?
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll figure out something for that. We're skipping this text one because like we could have done this, but I don't think anyone's going to be like, how did you figure out text, right? So we'll pass on this slice. We're going to focus on the hero and this content slice. So as you can see, like that's kind of the main structure of these slices. So what I did was like quickly ported those over to Figma, and here in Figma, I just kind of mapped it out the way that a designer might, right? If you had a big site build, you might have several hero slices, and you might have several media highlights. Like if you've ever used like Tailwind UI, let me just pull that up. You can see that they kind of break their things down into slices, essentially, right? Like they have several hero sections, several feature sections, pricing sections, that sort of thing. So if you're building out a full website, your designer will probably organize slices in this kind of a way. So we just have the single hero right here, but with the what we're calling a single media highlight, and that's that slice that repeats the whole way down. We actually have two different kinds of that same slice, and as we're going to see, Slice Machine allows you to create variations. So we have one variation that is just this standard. Oh, sorry, I thought I was cutting somebody off. It's just this standard where the image has padding around it and it has a lot of space.
I can see, yes.
Yeah, and then we have this full width, and in Figma, Figma is fantastic and allows you to actually use that same kind of logic where you have a variant. So in Figma, it's a variant. In Prismic, it's a variation, and you just say like it's either this or it's that. So what I did was I just quickly made our homepage where we have the hero at the top, and then we've got a few of these different, a few single media highlight slices kind of in a row, and you get the idea where we're just kind of stacking them on top of each other, giving the editors the option to choose between the variation, and they can go, actually, I want the default one, or I want the full width, right?
Okay, cool. So it's the same component, just like you change the variant of it on Figma.
Yeah, exactly.
That's lovely. And, I mean, it's nice how this then will extend into the logic of Prismic. It's the same thing, right?
Exactly, yeah, because these are just slices, and so now I'm kind of acting as the designer here, and I'm going, hey, Hamed, I've got these slices that I want you to build. What do you think? Can you build these for me? And then Hamed can decide on how he wants to structure these in Prismic with Slice Machine, and kind of take this project from here. I'm not actually a designer, so I'm going to be like alongside with him. But that's how most workflows happen, right? Where like the designer creates these slices in Figma, or sorry, yeah, he or she designs the slices in Figma, and then we'll talk with the developer, and the developer goes, yeah, I can absolutely make those, and then it gives your editors the flexibility to create the Alicia Keys site and continue to add content over and over. As Alicia Keys puts out more music, you don't need to go back to the designers and say, hey, we need you to redesign the site. You don't need to go back to developers and say, hey, we need you to spend a few hours and go in and put her new music video in there, right? You have this really versatile slice, and you're able to just use that over and over again as an editor. So you, as a developer, you look like a hero because the editors can now build pages all day, no sweat, and everyone's happier.
Cool. Yeah, now design already. Well, Alex, nice design. Thank you for doing the designs. now it's time to talk to the developer, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, hand it over.
Hey, can you guys see my screen? Because I couldn't see yours.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so as Alex mentioned, we are breaking down the design that we have into slices, and slices are basically group of fields that help us build different sections of the site. So we're going to start from the hero slice. Now, I have set up a Next.js project that's already set up with Prismic and Tailwind CSS. If you don't know how to set up Prismic with Next.js, a good resource would be the Prismic documentation. You can just go in the documentation and select Next.js as your framework and literally just follow the steps there. If you prefer a video walkthrough, you can check out my channel. I do have a video walkthrough there, but it's pretty straightforward. You can set it up. I've also added Tailwind, as I mentioned, to make styling a bit easier. Once you set up your project, you are going to develop your slices and content types and fields inside of a Slice Machine. Slice Machine is a local development tool that helps you tailor your content types and slices and then save them to your code base and then push them up to Prismic, where the editors can use those as slices to create different pages and sections. So with that, you'd have to run your development server just like any regular Next.js app with npm or whatever package manager you're using, npm run dev. And on a separate terminal, I'm running npm run slice machine, which starts slice machine on port 9999. We're going to see in a second here. So this is the slice machine where you can use to create what powers your page builder. So we're going to start with this slice, and we're going to create a new slice. We're going to name it hero, and we're going to save it to the target library slices. You can have different libraries for slices. This is going to be the default that we're going to use. Every time.
And here I would like to kind of ask the question to the chat, because here like we started using the term slice all around, and you know it kind of makes sense because we're slicing a website into different parts. But I would like to know if people had already used slices in the chat, and the people that are watching, and you know, have you used them? Do you have like some experience there? Do you think that it's kind of easy for you to explain it to marketing people and the other people, or the designers, or the other you know, people on the team? Don't hesitate to write a few lines in the chat and tell us about your experience with slices. And if you're completely new to this, that's cool. Just tell us about it, and you know, maybe we'll take a little bit more time to explain things here.
I'll speak for myself if that's okay.
Yeah.
When we were talking about slices, I mean, I've worked with different CMSs before, but I love this idea of a slices because it just replicates a section on the site. And interestingly enough, when I explain this, or I have clients that are working with Prismic, oftentimes when they want to refer to a section, they say slices. Even if they don't mean slices, they say sections, because it's interchangeable with different sections of your site that together will build a page. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, and it seems the same for Alex from the chat. He says, I have a whole library of slices that our marketing team uses on a daily basis for multiple locales. That's cool. So they're mixing slices to make pages. That seems to be working for them and for the marketing team.
And I'm curious also to see, because Alex, you presented that feature in Figma about variants. I'm really curious to see like if it's like a really common use case for designers to use that variance thing to kind of make the different combination of slices that are possible, because it looked like a perfect reflection of
the variation
of slices variations. And I'm really curious, like if designers in the world are using that feature in Figma.
So one more question in the chat.
It's new, no? Like it's new. It's been there like for a year or something, no?
Yeah, about a year, if not a little more. Yeah, it's but I'm pretty sure that it is absolutely a feature that most designers who are well versed in Figma, who are using auto layouts, they're also using these variants. They're also, I mean, like they've improved upon the feature within the past year, and added it so that you can swap out text. So like if you have several different headings that you want someone to be able to choose from, they don't have to type it in each time. You can have like 3 different instances of text that they can swap between. So they have a Boolean, like it's pretty in-depth in Figma, and it maps pretty well to a lot of things that web developers are familiar with. I mean, like a Boolean is kind of right up our alley, right? So it's really nice to get a handoff from Figma when designers are going in on those features, because with tools like Slice Machine, it makes it a lot easier to turn that designer's dream into reality, right?
That's really good.
Yeah, very interesting. And also this auto layout feature, like it looks like you could even like drag and drop your slices inside your design, exactly as if you were an editor in Prismic, like trying to compose different variation of your page using that auto layout, and it's like so smooth to like drag and drop your slice and change like the order of them.
Makes it similar or something.
Yeah, it's like it's very similar experience, and so yeah, really nice. It looks like Figma is trying to mimic the experience of devs, like which are doing like different variations of their components, doing like speaking with words like Boolean stuff, or they're trying to kind of replicate CSS patterns or standards.
With auto layout, you're essentially it's Flexbox. When you're using auto layout, you can have it go up and down or left and right, and developers will know that as flex column or flex row. You can change the spacing between each item, and developers know that as gap, right? So like there's a lot of things that Figma has provided a UI for, and then they're able to output that as actual CSS that writes Flexbox code, and developers can either copy that CSS, but more likely just recreate it the way that they know how to. But having something like Flexbox in Figma is super
really
nice
good.
for sure.
Yeah. And we're keeping Hamid, I guess, waiting. But here is just one thing from the chat. There is Ben who's saying, I work in a team with a designer who uses Figma in this way. We would love a way to use Figma to provide the screenshots for the slices automatically, or something.
That's actually a good idea.
That's a good idea, right? Well, you know that, right?
Nice. Yeah. That's not the first time we heard that.
You heard
like,
that? Okay.
That's a really good idea. Yeah. Would be nice.
Okay, let's build the slices now.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to continue with the hero slice, as I mentioned. And now if you can see my page, I'm on the Slice Machine, which is like a local studio you can build your slices with. And when you're trying to create a slice, as you can see here, there's 2 sections really that you can add fields to. The first section is a non-repeatable zone. These are going to be the fields that won't repeat, like a title, like a description, image. And you have a group of repeatable zones where you can add fields that can be repeated once the content creator is actually creating a content with this slice. For example, you can have a button here it can be one button or it can be two buttons. So it's really repeatable. For the purpose of our hero design, which we have over here, we're going to have a title here. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a bit on a
we can,
lighter
yeah.
background. It's the name and the year, and then a subtext over there. And then we have the image. And then we have this additional keys there that I'm going to implement that inside of a header, like a navigation thing at the end. For now, what we have is an image, is a title, and a subtitle. Now, for the title and subtitle, if you want to provide a rich text field where the creator can decide if this needs to be an H1 tag or an H2, or if they want to make it bold or italic, you could use a rich text. To make it simple, I'm just going to use the title and description that came in here. These two, I believe, they're just key texts, maybe. I'm not sure, but
those are rich texts.
okay.
Yeah, so we can swap those out for key text to keep it simple. So just for everyone, the rich text will give you a ton of options, and they'll be able to, as you said, come in with headings, bold, italics, links, all that kind of stuff. For this instance, because all we want the editor to do is just to put a string there, right? Like that's all we want out on the other side. A key text here does make sense, but yeah, so just to say those defaults are a rich text field.
Yeah, as you can see, as Alex mentioned here, when you click this edit, you'll be able to see different options that you can allow the editors to use once they're actually editing this field. I'm going to use the same thing. I'm not going to change it. That's okay. But once you want to create or add a new field, you can click that button, add a new field. And these are the different fields you can add from rich text that we already have, an image, a link to other documents or to pages outside of your site, a drop-down select date, embedding videos or tweets and stuff. As you can see here, I'm going to add an image, and I'm going to just call it image for our background image over here. And once you have these fields over here, if you click on the show code snippet, it is going to actually show you how you can use the Prismic IO React library and the components that comes with it to model this data and build the React component that's responsible to render this slice. So we're not going to have any repeatable field over here. So we have the title, the description, and the image. What I'm going to do next is that I'm going to save this new slice to the file system. And once you do that, inside of your project, if you could see in my code editor here, there's this slices directory that's automatically created from the slice machine. And right now I have this hero slice created for me. And here you can see there's this index.js, which is the React component responsible to render this hero slice. And I can see the title and description field is already mapped out here for me from the API response that we get with this slice. And then we're going to add the image in a second. Also here, you can see the mock data, and in the slices, you can see all of the slices that you create in the slice machine will be mapped out here in your project, which is good because you can actually commit these slices and different versions together with your code. That helps you keep track of different versions of your slices and content types as you're building it.
I just want to say, like, I love that you pointed that out, because that was such a an impetus, or the word I'm looking for is escaping me, but that was one of the main reasons why we wanted to make Slice Machine, is to bring that data to your version control system, to make it so that if you wanted to back up your custom types in your slices, which of course you do, that it is right there in your code. Because if you've been working with Prismic for a while, you know that the older way of building is in the cloud, right next to the editor where your editors will create pages with, right? So we wanted to take your custom types and slices out of that and put it right next to your code, so that you can back it up, you can version control it, because we think that's so important. And you also touched on the mocks there briefly, and yeah, that allows you to not have to go into prismic.io and put in some fake data and then come back and build against it, because like I'm sure the chat has had that experience where you're working on styling a component and you need something in there, so you either have to hard code it into the component and then fetch the data and pipe it down later, or you have to go into your CMS and you have to put in some dummy data, just whatever for now, so that you see an image, and then you can like that hassle going back and forth. We wanted to get rid of that, so that's what the mock data does, so that you can use our slice simulator to preview that slice, as I think we'll be doing soon. If yeah, I'm not sure, but
I'll do it right now.
yeah,
So
it just makes it so much easier. You don't have to wait. You're able to use mocks
tight
right off the bat.
iterations, right? Tighter iterations. We don't have to go back and forth between different tools. Just you're here, you can fill the mock data and continue building what you're building.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to grab the mic from you, Hamid. I was going to say, like, those things were like, people might wonder, why does Slice Machine exist? The editor worked fine. The custom type builder worked fine. It's things like these that you really get these upgrades once you bring your content type creation local. You can't get this in that same kind of way if it's not right next to your code. So
yeah,
just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that's actually a great point, because before we were using the Slice Machine, what we used to do was, inside of the editor online, we would just copy the JSON representation of all the slices, and then we'll bring it manually to our code so that we have a version committed with our code. But right now, the Slice Machine, that's already done. The other thing that I love about Slice Machine is that you can actually share slices between different pages and custom types. That's easy. Before, you had to import it. You could, but if you wanted to make a change, you had to make changes in a couple of different places where you're using that slice. Whereas now you have one single source of truth for your slices. You can just update it. It automatically writes it to your code base, which is committed with your repo. And the other thing is also, you can add a screenshot to each of the slices. So when the content creators on the other side, which we're going to see shortly, want to select between different slices, they actually know how they look like. So down here, let's just do it now that I said, maybe I just select the file that I have here. You can also use the mock data and the simulator to do this. But I'm going to use this photo that I had from the hero.
Makes sense.
And then once we have this, we can go to the changes. This is actually another thing that was recently added, I think, because before I used the Slice Machine, this wasn't part of it. Now, any change that you make, this actually shows you there has been a change. So you either push it locally or push it up to Prismic. And when I say push it up to Prismic, I'm meaning the Prismic repository, which is hosted for you by Prismic. That's where your actual content is living. That's where your editors and publishers are going to work. So let's actually go there and see if we can see this, or maybe I just create our custom type and then I would go there. So custom type is a combination of slices and fields. So if a slices were sections of your site, I try to think of the custom type as the page itself or a category.
It is a page. It is a page. It is completely the page, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a template of page in the end.
Template of page. Yeah. Nice.
So the custom type, if we go ahead to create it, we have the option to create a repeatable type. So let's say you want to create a page, a custom type that represents a page, and you have so many different instances of that page, maybe a contact page, maybe an about page. So it's a repeatable type page. Or you have something like a single type, which is only happening once in your application, like the home page. So let's create the home page together. I'm going to name it also home page. So we're going to create a single type. Now, again, the custom type or every page has a static zone. You can use this as static zone for fields that are not repeating, like a title, like your metadata. And you have a slice zone where you can add the type of slices you want to make available on this specific custom type or page. So for static zone, let's just add a key text over here. Well, not UUID. Let's just add, where is the key text? down here. So I'm going to name this SEO maybe title. I'm going to add it here, add another field. Maybe I want an SEO description. And in the slice zone, once you select to add slices, you're going to be presented with all the slices you currently have, and you can select which ones you want to make available in this specific one. Again, we have some changes. I'm going to save this to the file system, and then I'm going to also push these changes to Prismic.
So
And
until now, all what you worked on, it's on your file system, right? It's locally. Nothing happened in the cloud or anywhere else.
Exactly.
So until you pushed, right? Until you pushed to Prismic. And so what you mean is that a slice couldn't live without its custom type, right? So like it makes no sense to write only slices, but you have then to attach them to their custom types to make them like, kind of available into the templates.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Super quick. Are you yeah, so what's the next step? I'm just curious which way you're going. I'm wondering if you're going towards Prismic or if you are going to Slice Simulator at this point.
I was going to you're asking me, Alex, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to show the Prismic repository so that we can see these slices that we just pushed.
Okay.
So once you go to the repo, as part of the process when you're setting up Prismic in Next.js, when you hook it up, you can select a repository to be connected to this project. I've already done that, and it's in the steps of the docs that I mentioned. So the first time you visit here, you have to select the main language that you want for your site. I'm going to pick US English. And then now we can create content with the content type and slices that we had there. So I'm going to click here. And as you can see, because I only had one content type and that was a homepage, it automatically created that for me. I see that SEO title. Let me just make this a bit bigger for you guys to see. So I can have a title here, let's say Alicia Keys. And then for the slices here, I can add this hero slice, which then allows me to fill in the same fields that we have defined together in the slice machine. So here for the first one, let's just look at our design over here. Just bear with me for a second. So I'm getting these.
So before we jump to this, so with Slice Simulator, we can build out this slice without putting in any data into our CMS. So that's what I was kind of touching on earlier. So can we pull up Slice Simulator instead? Sorry to grab the reins. I just want to see if we can make that work. So if instead we can show this screen.
And actually, it plays well with a question that we have from Christian in the chat, who's saying while the website is still in development and not live, what is the main benefit of working locally versus pushing things to Prismic while it's still a work in progress? What are the things that you think of that make the workflow better if we're working locally? Can you think of a few things? I don't know, Hamid, Alex. There are a few things that I can think of, but I don't know from your experience.
Sorry, I honestly wasn't listening. I was trying to figure out what's going on the screen. That's my screen.
So the question was, what is the benefit of working locally instead of pushing
all the time into Prismic? And there are a few things that come to my mind already. Because go ahead, please.
For me, it's just so much faster. Honestly, it is faster, a lot quicker. Like for anyone who has been developing for a few years and has worked before hot module reloading, where you change your component, you hit save, and then you wait for whatever framework you're using to rebuild, for Webpack to rebuild that component. The page reloads. That's not what I wanted. Change the component again, hit save, wait for it to, like even that, and that's all local. That takes a while. So to have to jump over to Prismic, change something, hit save, and then go back to your page, refresh the page, see if that changes what you wanted it to be. It's not. Let's go back. That that's just the nature of two things kind of being far apart. It's not that the Prismic API isn't fast; it's super fast, but just having to work
Different
in something
apps,
that's
different
not
things.
directly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if it's all in your code repository, it's going to be a lot quicker.
So there is
So
the fact that
if we
it's quicker, but there's something that I can think of today is that one of the main things that we want to have is that the source of truth all is in the code, right? That's very important. As in, if Prismic does not, anything, any data that you put in the cloud, it's not there anymore. Your project is standalone. It can actually, we can generate everything out of your project. That's very important. So whenever you have different branches, imagine you have different branches, different versions, you want to get back to a new version, an older version, and then you can start Prismic from there and it will work. There will be nothing missing because actually you can work from the code being the truth. But if you have the habit of always pushing to Prismic, then you're not verifying that actually everything that you have locally has everything that you need to be able to spawn this project, run it, test it, without actually having other things, depending on other things that are not there. I think this is a good habit to have to kind of be able, to work locally.
Yeah,
Exactly. And maybe also like
Hey,
if you want to test quickly, so we want like to iterate fast, that's true. But if you want to test like different combination of content, like very quickly, I don't know, like a short text, a long text, like a large paragraph, an image that is too large, or stuff like that. If you want to quickly test this combination of content, then like working locally would be great because like you don't have like to write down the content, publish, save, wait for the API to be queried, etc. And then
like you're working on a CSS and you want to see, okay, how does it work if the title goes 2 lines, for instance, or something. Yeah. Hamid, you wanted to add something? I felt.
No, the points that you mentioned are exactly the points that I would use locally for the speed, for having a version control of our data and slices inside of our project, rather than having to everything living in Prismic. And also when we were doing it with the legacy builder, we had to build dummy pages and create slices and then publish them to be able to see the changes. Whereas now you don't need to publish anything. You can even have, later on I'm going to also show the preview functionality. So without pushing anything live.
Yeah, sorry, I was saying absolutely. Yeah, that's great.
Ahead.
That's exactly. Yeah, I mean,
sure.
I like how you put it. I like how you explain it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Let's jump over to Slice Simulator. I feel like we're dipping off the path a little too much. But yeah, so have you used Slice Simulator, Hamed?
So I have used it before, where you can see here it gives you a title, a description, and an image, and kind of replicates. I don't know if you guys can see it or not here. With mock data, you can change the mock data to whatever you want and see how it looks like, and then tailor your component and then come back and see how it looks. Or, as I mentioned, you can just upload a screenshot of the design that you have, and then that would be easier when you're working with it on the Prismic site.
Yeah, so so with Slice Simulator, you should be able to take an actual screenshot of that component once we get it outfitted. So if we could try building it in here so that when you change your code on the left, like if you add the image to that slice, Slice Simulator should update and you'll be able to build it there. It's similar, like if anyone out there has used Storybook to build components in isolation, you get those benefits of the CSS isn't leaking in from other components. You know that what you're building is going to be solid because it's just being built in isolation. It's that same kind of principle, and it allows you to use mock data, not worry about what's in Prismic UI, not have to go back and forth. It updates all right there, even as you type. So we're going to get some really nice benefits by building within Slice Simulator.
Okay, so you want me to work on the hero now?
Yeah. So yeah. So if we just bring in those fields and just see how that mock data works.
Okay.
Again, sorry to be like, no, do it this way. I just want to. I love Slice Simulator. I just love when we get to work inside it. So I'm a little biased. I don't know.
Sure.
Sorry.
No worries. That's okay. So what I typically do is I would usually get rid of this boilerplate code. Sorry to
Oh,
Prismic team here.
that's what boilerplate's for, man. That's all
Yeah.
good. It's there
Yeah,
to be deleted.
so we do have this Prismic, we do have an image, and we do have this Prismic next image that comes with this React library that was installed as part of the process. This is using the Next.js image component under the hood, and I usually use this. I'm just going to copy the fields that I have here so you don't have to watch me code all this. So on this Prismic image, we have a field that's coming from the API. On the slice, we have the primary section and all the fields that we have added to the non-repeatable zone of the slice, such as the title, description, and the image. So we're going to have that image there. This component is going to automatically add the alt tags for us and use the next image under the hood with the optimizations. We are having two rich text fields. One is the title, one is the description. And the way that I usually do this is I will create a custom component called rich text to be able to pass some classes. So I'm going to create a component folder over here, and inside of it, I'm going to create a rich text. And inside of here, what I would do is I'll just wrap the Prismic rich text, which comes from this React library, but I'm wrapping it with a div so that it allows me to pass in some tailwind classes. So if I want to change the font or the color of my text, I would do that. So with that said, I can now bring in my title and description inside of this div down here. So as you can see, I can import this text over here. So I have a field for the title and another rich text for the description. I'm just passing in some tailwind classes to style them differently. So if I save this, Alex, you mean now if I hit the slice simulator?
Yeah, if you go back to the slice simulator, I think it might still be open, but we need to change the titles. Okay, so is that?
It is showing the image, and it is showing this title, and it's exactly the way that I have styled them.
Just to the people pushing the buttons, let's we can't see the full screen when we go to this view, and we need the full. Yeah, there we go. Cool. I know you want to show us too, but it might be better if we're just disembodied voices, and people can see like the entire thing. Cool. So yeah, now if you change the text or anything on the right, we should see it update in real time, and that's like one of my favorite aspects of this. There you go. So like that is the immediate feedback that you can't get if we go and do this in Prismic in the writing room, right? Like doing it in Slice Simulator allows you to build right here, right next to the React component. And if you change something on the left, and by on the left I mean in your code, you'll see it update immediately on the right, because that is just what Slice Simulator is doing is it's running it's based on your Next.js development server, so it's showing you that component as it should be. So it's all real. It's all there. So
yeah, but as you were talking, I just updated the color for this title, and this updated on the right hand side, so you can work with these or inside of your code. And this is without even being connected or having any live data on the Prismic repository.
Yep, it's all just mock data, but you get to make it yours. You get to make it custom. And I think this is just such a fast way to build. You don't even have to have connection to the repository. Just build here and spit out slices, and it just speeds up your workflow so much. So anyway, thank you for indulging me. I appreciate it.
Exactly.
And even in the image there, you could upload one of the images that we're going to be working with. So you can make this like as authentic as possible.
Sure. Let me see.
We give you some examples from Unsplash, but you should be able to upload a real one. Or am I lying? Isn't there an upload feature, Côme?
Yeah, there is.
Sorry. It's just a button at the top there. Cool.
Cool. Exactly.
Yeah, sorry. The screen, because I'm seeing it not through the way that the chat is seeing it. It's a bit blurry for me, so I'm just squinting at fuzzy pixels. But cool. So we can put in one of those images.
Uh,
But yeah, either way. Sorry. At the top of the image thing, there should be like an upload from computer or something. Not there. Back one. Not in this modal, but it's good feedback that you are looking in the modal for it. Isn't there one at the top there along the image bar? No.
No.
If not, that's fine. Okay, cool. Well, we can just
It
rock
says
with the computer one for
replace
now.
or crop and resize.
Yeah,
Replace. So
I think I misunderstood your question. Yeah, for the moment, it's only like picking kind of random images from Unsplash.
okay, cool.
And
Cool.
yeah, but that's actually a good
ignore
feedback
me
because you are looking for that button. So yeah,
Cool.
It does not
a good
exist.
one. Yeah. Sorry, I said yes,
Sorry to
but
get you that
I just misunderstood that.
Oh, good.
Okay, are we
Cool.
good here?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if we save that mock, it should be saved, and then we're good.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll let you take back over, man. I just
No worries. No
wanted to
worries.
show off Slice Simulator.
100%. So the next thing that we can do while we're here, maybe we can just go about the other slice that we have and build that one too, and then we'll add some content to the Prismic repository, and then we'll query that content inside of Next.js, and then we'll just marry everything together. So the next slice that we have, if I go back to the design, if I know this is small, but if you can see, this is the second section that we had on the site. Maybe I can show it better here. These are these sections that are like a single media highlight. They have images here with some text and some link that will take you to Alicia Keys' shop or YouTube. And we have these themes for the background and the text color. As you can see here, we have gray, brown, dark, light, blue. So next we're going to try to kind of create this section as a slice. So therefore the content creators can add as many of these sections as they want to the page. So I'm going to create a new slice. I'm going to call this single media highlight. Did I spell that right? Okay, so I'm going to create that. And again, I'm going to keep the title and description because we had those two texts over there. I'm going to add a theme, and for our theme, I'm going to use a select dropdown so that I can give the creator the ability to choose this. Once I created this theme, I can just go in and define different options. Let me just pull up the different options that we have here real quick.
So just super quick. So this theme, that's to handle the different colors. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the background color and the text. It would be a theme that's just targeting both. So when I say, let's say it's brown, it's the brown on blue text. And then when I say pink, instead of having, you can create two different fields, one for background, one for the text. I'm just doing it in one. So if you're choosing the brown theme, it will be a brown background and a blue text.
And I think it's a nice thing to be able just to I don't know, make coherent themes that have, you know, several things inside them that change. Because often also I feel that for the content and marketing people, having too many options is going like not to be productive. I have to, you know, do this and that. Whereas a theme, okay, it's a coherent, it's a design thing. The designer decided on different themes, and you don't have to, you know, we don't have to mess with the colors or anything like that. So
absolutely,
sounds like a good idea.
Yep.
Absolutely.
If you want to anger a designer, instead of this theme, just put color fields, a bunch of color fields, and let the editors choose whatever, and the designer will be DMing you within minutes, I promise. Because giving just free reign on like, yeah, choose whatever colors you want, editors, it's just not, it's not a good idea. So yeah, locking people into making good decisions, I think that's our responsibility as developers. To make sure that no matter what you're doing, it's gonna look good, right? Like I think that's our job. So
exactly.
Cool. Thanks for answering.
No problem. So next would be the image field. So again, we can add a field for the image, and then we're going to have a link also. So add field. We're going to select link. I'm going to also call it link and add. Once I save this file to system, I can go back to the project here and see this second slice was created, single media, if you could see it here. And then I have this React component, which is responsible again for rendering this slice. So while we're here, let me just go ahead and
while you do that, I just want to call out to the audience to chat. If you see at the top there, you see all that funny stuff above the actual declaration of this component. We have TypeScript support built into your slices so that so I'm not a TypeScript expert, so I'm gonna step outside my comfort zone a little bit. But basically, this makes it so that we're automatically pulling in that type for that slice because we know what it is because Slice Machine is creating that file. So at that top there, we're making it so that it's a lot easier. But where as you type slice dot, it starts to give you the shape of your object. So that's a nice automatic built-in feature now. Even more TypeScript support and just better features is coming. I would say within a month or two. We've got some really nice stuff that we're working on. But as you can see, like we're trying to automate as much as possible for you, so that you can do the fun stuff and not worry about like bringing in the types and creating the types and doing all that kind of stuff. So just wanted to say that. Sorry, Hamed. I keep cutting you off, but someone gave me a microphone, so I don't know. Blame them.
That's all good, man. That's all good. So one thing that I wanted to mention before implementing this, for this slice per the design, we had two variations. Alex also mentioned this in the beginning. Some of the slices, as you see, the image is kind of full width. Some of them aren't. So what you can do here inside of the Slice Machine for this slice, you can create variations, which is awesome. So here up top, if you can see, there is right now only one variation, which is a default. I can add a new variation. I can call it maybe full width image. And this is going to be the ID that I receive in the data in the application. So therefore, we can design it two different ways. And then the creators, the content creators, can choose different variations if they want a full width image background or not from Prismic, which we'll see in a second. So I'm going to also save this to the file system. Now, I will copy the code for what I have over here, just because we're running a bit late, but I will explain everything that is happening over here. So this single media highlight, just like the hero, is the React component responsible to render this slice. Now inside of it, if you remember, we had a link so that it takes people to different links, different sites, if they click on it. And for that, I'm using Prismic link. Again, this comes from the React helper library from Prismic that allows you to just pass in the field, which is slice primary.link, to this Prismic link, and it just handles everything for you. It is also going to use the internal Next.js link for internal links. So it differentiates between internal links that you are linking to your own pages rather than a website outside. So that's good to know. And inside of this div, just ignore this section for a second. I will come back to it. But really what we're doing is we have the rich text again, which is for the title and description. And then we have the Prismic next image, similar to the hero section over here. We're just passing in the field to it. Everything else is handled for us. But this section, the only thing that we're doing is I'm reading that slice variation we just created together. So if it is a full width image, I'm using, the background image from the style tag to set that image as the background. There's different ways you can do it, but basically I'm conditionally either setting it full width or I'm rendering this Prismic image. So that's that condition down here that allows you to read different variations. Now you can have more than one variation, and you can just conditionally check and render your slices differently, all in one single slice, instead of creating too many different slices. If the variation wasn't there, maybe you would have created one slice for full image, one slice with padding, And this makes it easy to just do it all in once. I don't know if you have something to add, Alex.
No, well, I was just gonna say, like, you explained that super well. Yeah, like the variation feature makes it so that you don't have, as you said, like 10 slices that are just slight, hey, variations on each other, right? Because like that's a lot for your editors to scroll through and choose between. If you have like a content image left, text right slice, and then a different slice that is just those two things flipped, that doesn't need to be a different slice, right? So a variation. So I'm gonna also answer Chris's question in chat where he asked, like, how do you determine whether it's a variation or it's like a select field? Because you used a select field for the theme, but we're using a variation for the image. And yeah, you know what? Like we could have done selects for both, but the trade-off there is that our editors don't see a separate screenshot if we're using a select and handling it within the slice, where the variation feature actually gives us a screenshot for each of those two variations, so that your editor can come in and see the one where there's a lot of padding around the image, and then the other one where there's no padding and it's full width. So that's going to allow them to kind of visually just go like, oh, right, I want that one for this image or for this setup.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it just
right.
kind of comes
And
down to like a preference.
yeah, and there is that, and the fact also that you can add additional fields for certain variations. Sometimes you need a little bit more for a variation, so you need to add more fields.
Good
So
point.
the select will not help in there. So that's why you don't. Otherwise, you will have to add all the possible fields in the slice,
Yes.
and then have a select field, which sounds like cumbersome. Like you have too many empty fields. Here, it's more tidy, and then you have for each variation, you have only the necessary field for making that run.
That's a great point. When we were talking about this, we actually mentioned, like, should we do a slice variation where instead of an image you have an embed, and you would do a variation because in the embed variation you would take out the image field and instead add an embed. That way, to your editors, they're not leaving fields blank, because that can be confusing. As some people in chat said, like, they want to help their editors out. If you have like 30 fields for a slice, but they're only supposed to fill in 5, that is not good, right? So you want to make it so that your variations can tuck away some of those fields that might not be used, like in the example of you swap out an embed for an image. That's a perfect example, I guess. So
just circling back to the same point is on the slice simulator, as you can see here, we can just toggle between different variations and see the different kind of show here. So visually to see the differences. And as Sadek mentioned, not having to leave those fields off or adding fields in different variations is, I think, what makes this awesome. Because before the variations, what we had to do was just add a bunch of fields that won't be used together, and content creators won't remember which ones to add, which ones to leave empty. So that's definitely an improvement there. So once we have a change here again, we can push changes. And as you can see, it's telling me that I'm missing the screenshot here. So I can update the screenshot maybe from this slice simulator here. And then if I go back now, maybe I take a screenshot here.
Yeah, try that. See if that. Crossing fingers. Live demos, by law, something has to go wrong. So if the screenshot doesn't work, did it work?
Yeah, it worked. Yeah.
All right, never mind. Well,
okay,
we're starting the law.
Yeah, so we have it over here. We can go for the full width image again. Go to the slice.
And I think from the push changes screen, there's a button, and correct me if I'm wrong, Côme, that allows you to do all your slices at once.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You can see that drop down. Yeah, you can see that modal to let you like easily upload screenshots for each variations.
Yeah.
But if you want to take that from the simulator, you have to open a new tab, and you have to come back from that and kind of take a picture from the simulator. But yeah, so it's not exactly at the same time, but like you have that nice modal where you can easily manage your different screenshots. And
cool. For anyone who built with Prismic pre-Slice Machine, you remember making editors choose between different icons rather than the thumbnails. The thumbnails is such a step in the right. It is so much nicer to be able to look at a small version of that slice rather than just an icon. So I just want to say, like Slice Machine has brought so many improvements that I think I take for granted these days. But it just makes the development experience and the editing experience so much better.
And as you said, we are responsible as developers of producing a good experience, because often we focus on the website, but what we're building is the writing experience, publishing experience. We're developing basically an app in that case, and that's why the experience is important, and thumbnails is part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm
cool.
curious,
So we got our thumbnails.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, just a question for Hamid. I'm curious, like, what do you usually use to make your screenshots? Like, do you take them from the simulator? Do you screenshot from Figma, or what's your process usually to take screenshots?
So there has been two different ways. Sometimes that when I don't have the styling done completely here on my code base, I may use the Figma design to just have that. But once I have this and I can push it to the slice simulator and it reads it, I will use these as my go. But sometimes, like if I want to have the correct image here, that's like literally the type of image that I want the content creators to see, sometimes I use the Figma design, and that's easy because you can either use the screenshot inside the simulator or just update the screenshot and just upload a new screenshot from your local computer. So either way, it's just awesome. I have done it both, but sometimes the slice simulator, maybe I have done it wrong before, or I didn't have the designs correctly. Sometimes it didn't show me the correct image, so I used the Figma design. But often case it just works fine, and unless I want to use a specific image, I just use the screenshot from here.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. So what do we hit next?
We've so just before we leave this, I wanted to mention this since somebody asked about the selector here real quick, that we are changing. I'm just calling this function get theme class names, and based on the theme that they have chosen, I'm just changing the CSS classes so that we are rendering the background and the text images differently, just so you see this function here. I wanted to explain everything that we have over here. So right now, let's go. I have pushed everything while we were talking to Prismic. So as you can see, there's no recent changes. So here, if I go back and discard the changes that I have over here and create a new slice, a new page for our home page. So let me just fill in the blanks here again. I'm going to select.
I think, and we can do this. So if you hit save and publish on this, or not, we need to add the slice to the custom type. So we created a second slice.
Yep, you're right.
Cool. Yeah,
you're right.
All good.
You're right. So custom types, again, we created this slice, but we didn't actually use it inside of our custom type. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. So inside of our custom type, as you can see, we have this slice zone down here. So we'll update it and then select this second slice that we chose again, save it, save to file system. So it updates it in our project. And then we can see there's a change. We push it up to Prismic. So now we will be able to see both the slices inside of our Prismic repository. Let me just go back and discard and create this new. As you can see here, I have the two slices that I can select from, and I see the images. So the content creators will be really easy for them to choose. Before, there was just an icon which wasn't showing a lot about what's going on inside of this slice. But now they can see how this slice looks like. So while I copy some content here, maybe Alex, you can dive into something.
I can tell a joke. No, I'm just kidding. So while you enter some content, let me think of what we can kind of touch on. People in chat are talking about TypeScript and saying how the TypeScript automation has definitely helped them out. Jen says the automatic type generation is a lifesaver. Heron, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, apologies if not, says you can add remove fields for variations, and also it's more visual because of the screenshot, like a card with or without an image or things like that. Yeah, I think I think to kind of go to touch on that, but also to go back to what Chris was asking, when to choose a variation or a select, you are because you can only do a variation on one type of change at a time, and by that I mean you can't combine a variation, so you couldn't also do the theme as a variation without also having to do like brown full screen, brown small image, blue full screen, blue full image, and you don't want to do that, right? So think of the variations as like the big changes. So for this it would be the full screen image or the smaller image, and then things like colors, or yeah, just like other small changes that will change the visual style. Bring those into a select field or a Boolean, and kind of like go from big to small. In my opinion, because as Heron said, whatever is kind of easier for people to see in that thumbnail, I think is going to be a better change for a variation versus a select field, where like brown, they can kind of understand what that is, you know, right? Like if you like this is going to be the brown theme, they can get that, and they can also see that through the preview. So until we have like multiple types of variations, I'm not sure if that's even something that we're considering, but for now at least, I would make it so that your biggest changes are variations, your smaller ones are selects,
and combining them will make a lot of options, right? That's the whole idea.
Yeah,
is that you're combining them,
exactly.
you have a lot of options.
Yeah, so like with our 2 variations and 5 or 6 theme colors, you have so let's 12. See if I disappoint my math teacher. Yeah, exactly. You've got 12 different slices that you can create from that, and with that you can create, you know, however many pages with all different kinds of content.
Yeah,
and that's just one slice, right? One slice, 2 variations, 6 themes. So it becomes super versatile. How are we doing on content, Hamid?
Okay, so I have put two of these slices. I'm going to explain what we did. This was the hero that we did title, description, image, and then I selected our single media highlight slice. So as you can see here, I have the title, description. I am selecting a brown theme for this, an image, and then a link. Once you click on it, it allows you to link to different things. I'm linking to Alicia Key's YouTube channel. And then as you can see here, we have this switch variation. So you can select between a default, and you can see a preview of the image here. Do I want it to be full width? Do I want it to be the default? Let's leave this at the default. And then the second one, maybe we can change this to be a full width to just see this in action on our site. And again, a different image and a different link down here. And I can now save this. Right now, I don't think the preview functionality is set up inside of our Prismic. We'll get to that in a second. But let's now talk about actually fetching this content inside of our Next.js app and showing it live on our site. So let's just go back to our repository here. Let me just close this off so it's a bit cleaner. So inside of our pages, we have this index.js, which is representing the home page. And right now, it's just showing home. Let me just, again, copy some code here so you don't have to watch me, but I will explain what I'm doing here. So all you really need to render your content from Prismic is really this slice zone component. You pass to it slices, and you pass the components that we've created together. It just matches the slices to those components and render your page. Now, as you can see here, I have get static props in Next.js to statically build this page or generate this page at build time in Next.js. I am using this create client from Prismic to create a Prismic client, connect to my repository, and fetch with this function that's getting a singleton type instance of our homepage content type. And I'm passing that page actually to my page component, which is just rendering this a slice zone. And with the use of this slices and component fields, it will be able to render our slices. So fingers crossed. Let's go back to our page over here. And as you can see, I have this hero section. I have this down below right now. because we're not implementing any of the scroll trigger animations, it's just looking a bit funky. Let me just change this guy real quick. I didn't want it to make this first process about.
Yeah, we're gonna add the animations in later, folks. Just wanted to get it, like as you're working, I always recommend that you get the HTML and CSS set first, and then if you have to add any wild animations on top, you have to add that to your HTML and CSS, right? So kind of getting the structure first, and then we'll do the fancy scroll blur stuff that AliciaKeys.com has.
100%. So we've got the pure slice here, and then the two slices that we had for our media are down here. One is with the padding, the other one is the full page, as you can see. This text you can see here is for the image itself. Maybe I chose a wrong image here. And we have our title text here as well. And then we have the links, which is going to take us to whatever link that we pointed to.
Don't play that. She will sue us. She'll take this this whole stream down if we let that play for any amount of time.
Exactly. So as you can see, we fetch the content of our hero, and we can add as many slices as we want to this. Is there anything else we want to cover, Alex, before we add the scroll trigger and animations here?
I mean, if chat has any questions or anything, but honestly, like I just want to kind of point out, like, if you can go back to the page itself.
Maybe a question here.
Yeah.
Because like, so you copy paste like that code snippet into your page. So I'm just curious to, and also like for the chat, like where did you get that? So how did you know that you had to template your page using the slice zone, etc., etc.? Like, what's your process to do that? Like, did you learn that through documentation, or what's exactly what did you do exactly to get to that? Because it was like so quick, so you ended up like with a full homepage, basically just working with your slice. That, yeah, pretty curious.
So exactly as you mentioned, it's documentation. If you go. And I love this about the documentation. It's pretty organized here. You can see sections for setting up your Prismic connection. You can see sections for modeling your content using different fields that comes within the repository. Fetching data was this part that we did, and how to render it actually with the use of this slice zone inside of your page. So this is literally the example that comes inside of the documentation that I used with the use of this slice zone. And anything else that you want to do here for previewing data, for deploying, or even more advanced stuff, such as using serializers to render your elements differently if you wanted to, you can use the docs, and that's exactly what I did here.
Nice. Cool.
And it's pretty incredible that you're able to get an entire site with unlimited amount of potential because of what slices can do in, like, what is that, 24 lines that I'm seeing? Like, it's just cool how, like, we've taken it's not that there is less to a Prismic page, it's that we've moved the complexity out of the actual page and put it in individual slices. So we look at React, how components just exploded when React came on the scene. People are like, yes, this is the way to build. And we kind of taken your data, taken your content and put it into these components so that you don't have to have a super big complex page. You have lots of, not complex, but somewhat complex slices where, like, that's where the information is. Here we just need to map over the array of slices that comes back from the Prismic API, and that's what the slice zone does for you.
That's the beauty of components. Like, we're extracting the potential of what components are, and we're putting it a little bit farther. There's something also, like, very quick, I would like there is a question that I saw in the chat about the flow, and like, by the way, I really enjoyed the Git-like flow of saving and seeing changes to push in Prismic, because and then there is there were a part about pushing things into Prismic. Yeah, so there's a part where you forgot about adding the slice to the custom type, and we went there and we're like, oh, where is the slice? We didn't push it. We didn't add it to the custom type. And then we went back and added it. And there were a comment, in order to remove this step of adding things to custom type, maybe we can select on to which custom type we'd like to add the new slice during the creation step. And that is very relevant to something that we're working currently on. And I thought maybe Côme could comment on that, the concept that we're adding, so that this flow becomes more natural.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Do we want to touch on that after the tutorial, just that we keep?
Absolutely. Yes. Sure.
We're close to the end.
Yeah.
Is that cool? I just don't want to
Totally,
because I do what, like, we're gonna at the end. At least I want to talk about what's coming in Slice Machine. So I think we can like bundle all that together. That's cool.
Yes.
Awesome. Sorry. Cool. So Hamed, we've got a working site, right? Is that like?
Yep. Yep. Everything is working. The links are working. The section is working. Now, maybe next we want to go about adding those animations to these slices and also bring in that header. So let's just start with the header. I'll do that, and then maybe you can dive into the scroll trigger, Alex, and then I'll copy the code there. You can explain over it. So inside of the component, typically I would like to create a layout for our Next.js, my Next.js apps. So let me just create a layout where I can then define a header there, so it's shared between all of the pages if you want to share it. If not, you can just implement it in that page single alone. So let me just copy the code over here. Again, I have just the layout component, and what's doing is that it's rendering a header, and then inside of a main tag, it's getting whatever children that we pass to it, and this children, once we wrap our app.js with this layout, will be whatever page component that's currently the user is visiting. So let me just also create this header component. Now inside of our header component, I'm using Framer Motion to actually add a bit of an animation to the heading. So let me just save this. Let me just go back to our app.js. Now with this new layout, we have to wrap our app.js with this layout. So let me just do that real quick. So if you can see here, everything else is the same. I just wrapped my component with this layout, which just adds hopefully that header to the whole thing. Just install Framer Motion real quick.
It's a pretty cool library. I'm a fan of GreenSock, so GSAP, if anyone's familiar. But Framer Motion has like a very React, it is built for React, where GreenSock's a lot more versatile, but it can be a little bit tricky if you bring it to React, just because it's not really the way that React wants to work. But you can absolutely use GreenSock with React, and so we're actually using both animation libraries for this little example. Partly because I know GreenSock, Hamed knows Framer Motion. And we both built different things. And normally, you wouldn't pull in two animation libraries for a project, but hey, it's our demo. We can do whatever we want. So that's what we did.
So as you can see here, that header is there, and it just fades away with the scroll and comes back. Just a little, snazzing up our component over here. And next, what we will do, we will go to the home page where we have added some scroll animation. Let me just add that over here, and I can explain, and Alex can explain what's going on. So we've added, as Alex mentioned, the GreenSock library. So I'll let you take away.
Yeah, I can talk to this. I'm just having trouble seeing it because it's so blurry. So to talk through it, I guess I do have the code on my side too, but I'm just looking at the screen share. So if we're looking at the home page there, so first you just need to import both GSAP and scroll trigger. And so because GreenSock is an animation library, but scroll trigger is their plugin that allows us to do really cool things on scroll. So we're looking to animate some things on scroll. We register that plugin, and then we're going to bring it into a use effect. We don't want this running server side. We want to make sure that this is tucked into a use effect. It's going to throw some errors if you don't put it in there. And so we basically, to be honest, this seems like a good amount, but I can actually paste it seems like a good amount of code. It seems like kind of complex, but I can drop the demo. Oh, I didn't realize that you're actually showing my screen. You're clever, studio. Well done. Here we go. I'll make this bigger. Sorry, I had no idea. I'm like, that looks. Is that moving? Wait, why isn't this getting bigger? Okay, there we go. My keyboard was asleep. So here we go. Adjusting. Thank you. So we are actually going in and getting the GSAP context and adding these boxes from our slice. Does our slice have that class on it? Did we add that back in? Because I added a class name to each and every single slice for.
Yeah, I'm just doing it right now.
Sounds good. Yeah. So basically, we're grabbing each slice for single media highlight, so that anytime one of those comes along, we're going to do this to each of those slices. So we're going to first set these Z index to the order that it has. That might just be a little bit of a precaution, just to make sure that as they slide on top of each other in that animation, I just didn't want one to get out of line. They're going to have position sticky, and then we'll set bottom to it as it animates. And it's going to have a transform origin of bottom. And doing a little bit of some hacky animations here, but basically we wanted to have a linear ease, so that if you're familiar with animation, sometimes things will come in fast and then slow down as they approach the end, or they'll come in slow and get fast as they approach the end. We want the ease to just be a constant speed the whole time, because that's what they have on the site. Duration with scroll trigger is just kind of like how much of the scroll do you want this to take. It's kind of like you just eyeball it, because 3, it's normally seconds, but because we are actually scrubbing this animation, and let me actually pull up. Well, actually, here, let me show the Alicia Keys site. Because we're scrubbing the animation with the scroll bar, so like I'm able to essentially play the animation back and forth with the scroll bar. We want to make sure that the duration has some length to it, because it's not an immediate animation. And then this part gets a little bit tricky, but scroll trigger essentially asks you, when do you want the animation to start and when do you want the animation to end? And I put some comments here because this first thing is for the slice, and then this is for the viewport. So when the bottom of the slice hits the bottom of the viewport, we want it to start, and when we want it to end when the bottom of the slice hits the top of the viewport. Green sock can be an entire like stream unto itself, so I'm not going to like get much deeper into that, because I think we're already over time. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of say you can do a lot of cool things animating slices, because we're just grabbing the array of these slices of this specific slice. I'm using a CSS custom property to handle the blur. That shows up right here with the image, right? Yeah, so style, I just added a blur filter on it, and I'm using that CSS custom property. GreenSock is great for animating custom properties, and we're just pinning it in place with these 2 lines here, and that's kind of it. Just want to make sure that you wrap it in this ref, because that is what is allowing it to get a hold of it, I think. Wait, am I even using that ref? I might not be using that ref. No, I am.
Yeah, you're using it on the div down below. That's
the scope of it. Yeah, exactly. So that's the animation. It seems like maybe a bit of work, but the scroll trigger docs are really great. Cassie Evans and Jack of GreenSock do a great job maintaining those docs. So it wasn't too tricky to hack around. So that's my part. I'm done.
Okay, awesome.
Cut back to Ahmed.
Yeah, the animation is on live here. You can see on my screen. If you switch with some more added slices, you can see that they slide over top of each other. They go to blur. And as we go down, we see more content. I've added this to our project. So you can see all this animation happening. And again, a quick touch on the header. We're using Framer Motion. It also comes in with nice features that you can read the values manually with this user scroll. There are different values you can read as the scroll happens, and based on that, you can transform those pixels that are scrolled into width and opacity, then that's what I'm doing to kind of shrink that size there. You can, I think we're going to include the link to the source code for anyone who wants to look into this, either one of these, to know how to implement them. But I think that's a wrap for our site. We implemented the animations and all the slices, and that should be it.
It's amazing, like that we're able to pretty much get a full website for, you know, a Grammy-winning artist done in however long this took, and you know, editors can come in, and as she puts out more music, just continue to add on top of that. And the cool thing is that this isn't just like a little like, hey, wouldn't it be neat? Like, this site is actually built with Prismic. The only pretend thing was Nux, or that the real site's built with Nux, and this is Next. That's the only thing that's like a little different. Oh, and Hamid and I didn't get paid to make the real site, so that's the only other thing, is we get no commissions from Alicia Keys' music, unfortunately. But if she wants to loop us in, we're not against it.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, Hamid, thank you for showing us how to build the site out. It's amazing what you can get done with just 2 slices. We had the hero, and then like if the chat wants to check out aliciakeys.com, you'll see it's that same slice with just like different themes over and over and over again. But it's a great site. I love the confetti. Nice. But it's a great site. It's exactly what she needs to tell people about her new music videos, her new tours, her skincare line, all that stuff. It's so cool how one slice can be so versatile. So I'm sure you have some projects where you can kind of bring that versatility and show your editors how much they can get done with very little. And that's the power of Prismic.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hamid and Alex, I mean, you know, for the coding the thing live and going through the animation and all of that. I learned a lot through this experience. Now, what's next? I guess there are a few things that maybe, Côme, you can go through about, you know, what's going to happen with Slice Machine, since we talked about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the way, like Hamid has a YouTube channel, as we said before, and you can subscribe there.
Yeah.
We're going to drop the link in the chat. I hope someone would do it. But yeah, please subscribe.
Yeah, really fantastic stuff. Can't recommend him enough. So please don't cut to me. Keep that stuff up so that people can yeah. Thank you. So sorry to boss the engineers around. Just want to make sure that my big mouth doesn't get Hamid any less credit, because yeah, fantastic work here, man. The way you explain things is super concise and tidy, and I think people will get a lot out of your work. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Cool. So Côme, we were gonna chat about what's coming. Like
think so.
we all just saw that Slice Machine's pretty awesome as it is, as we can use it right now. But is it going to get any better?
I hope.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we can, because we learned a lot of stuff in this live coding session. So maybe quickly a few recap of like what happened in the last 2 or 3 months and the releases that we covered, because most of them we could just cover them during the live session. So now, as you can see, we have that slice simulator that's becoming more solid like after every release, and we have that new widget in the slice simulator on the right that we call simply editor in Slice Simulator, because you can now like not only preview your slices, but you can like edit them. So like change the images, change the title, the description, and everything that you want. So you can kind of battle test your slice in front of different combination of content. So that's been a great addition to the Slice Simulator lately. So at the moment it's still in beta, so you cannot see like all of the fields in that editor, but like more and more we are adding new fields to that one. So that's one thing. Another stuff was like that was like I think the most expected feature in Slice Machine. That's not like so huge, but it's like so basic at the same time. So you can now delete slices in custom type in Slice Machine. So that's cool. You can actually delete custom type that actually have also documents attached, and all of that from Slice Machine. So you don't have like to delete the model in your code and then go to the editor, delete the documents and all of that. You can just click a button.
Yeah, someone had mentioned it in the chat, and they were like having
Oh yeah.
they wanted that, and that's something that will help.
Exactly. So I think it's in the version 0.6. So that's the one that we released like in February. So if you can try and download that one, I guess you'll solve your problem. So that's one thing. So there is the screenshot, of course. It was beginning of the year we released that, so you can have a way better experience to upload, like to update your screenshots and take them from the simulator, etc., etc. And so that's been the three things that we added recently, plus the support of TypeScript. When you create and update your slices. So that's basically what we did recently. And now we are end of March and we are starting a new quarter. So at Prismic we tend to work like in terms of quarter. So we set goals for each quarter, and we try to achieve big goals and like big ambitions every quarter, and ship also like new features and new stuff every quarter, so every 3 months. And so for this new quarter starting next week, we have big ambitions still. And the first one, so Sadek, you talked about it. It's all about pages. So what we saw in this video was, so basically we made a page. So we made the home page, and for that we had to use a custom type, which is our concept at Prismic. That's a kind of generic concept. Generic concept of custom type. But in the end, so we know that because like we have seen like thousands of custom type in Prismic, and in the end what we see is that people use them for creating pages most of the time, or creating navigations, and so like very basic items that you need for building your website. And so we believe that we should make it even easier to create a page for a developer, for a user, to say, okay, I don't necessarily need to use a custom type and then call it a page and then create a slide separately, add it to the custom type, not forget to push. So all of that experience, we want to make it a bit more native and more specific to pages. So it doesn't mean like custom type will disappear. It just means that we may introduce a new kind of type that we call page, because if you want to create a page, then you will use a page type. And we want to go also like a bit deeper in your code integration, like we do for slices. So for example, for slices, we provide you like code snippets, templates, and so it gets like kind of easy to create a slice. But when it comes to custom type, so you saw like Hamed had to go to the documentation and copy like some kind of code snippets, make sure he has to update the index.js of his website.
So it seems to me like we want to focus the experience around actually building pages. So it all starts from building a page, and from that, then all the workflow will go, instead of going the other way around that we saw happen with Hamed.
Yeah,
and that's what you're talking about.
Exactly. And so I'm curious, Alex, Hamed, what you think about that, and what's your feeling like just after this live coding, if you believe that's something that could be helpful.
I mean, I can see that going from the pages, because that's typically how you would go about, building your Next.js app, would have a different flow. Honestly, the way that it works right now, because of the simulator that allows me to see my slices before even having to fetch any data from Prismic, it works fine the way that it is now, because I don't have to fetch anything from Prismic while I'm just styling even my components. If I had to fetch content from Prismic to then pass the slices to those React components and slice zone, then I would start from the page. But now this slice simulator, anytime that I'm working with Prismic, I don't worry about fetching data at that moment. I just create fields, create slices, create content types, React components. I style them, and then I would just go back and it's just usually a simple snippet that you can copy paste to just fetch that specific page. that you're getting, or adding in your link resolver or route config for different. If you're maybe adding dynamic pages,
Right.
you'd add that to your config, and then have a different page
But
for your
but
dynamic.
actually, yeah. Well, but that's good that you're noting this, because we believe we're keeping things the same way. You don't have to fetch data to be able to kind of iterate on your
Yeah.
pages. It's just that the flow will look a little bit more focused on pages, but still you're going to at some point you ought to open a slice and then you work on the slice and then you finish and then you work
Sure.
on another slice. But the first thing that you would do, it will be maybe a page or something. So that's
Right.
more about the workflow rather than the fetching.
And Hamid, the it wasn't the most work in the world, but the work that you did of creating the SEO title and the SEO description, and then also if you were to build this as a real full-fledged site, you would have an OG image and you might have other meta
Exactly.
details in there. Having that automatic just because you told Prismic Slice Machine that hey, I want to build a page, and we go, hey, no problem, I'll toss some SEO stuff in there, and not making you start from scratch every single time. I think that like I want to make it so that Slice Machine and Prismic in general takes care of the stuff that everyone is doing, right? Like if everyone is going in and adding meta titles and meta descriptions to their pages, let's make it so that you have to do less of that boilerplate work, right? You're just able to come in and say, hey, this is a page, and we go, cool, we're going to set you up some best practices, this is what you probably want, if not you can delete it, but we're going to try to save you as much time, and also standardize the way that people build sites so that if you get handed a Prismic site that someone else built, it doesn't look like completely alien and weird, and it's like, why
Yeah,
did
a
they
good
do it
point.
this way,
That's a
and
good
what's
point.
going on there, right? Like, as a Prismic developer, if you're out there, and I know people in chat are, I recognize a lot of the names. There's if you're freelancing as a Prismic developer, wouldn't it be nice if the code that you get handed by a new client is like, oh yeah, okay, this is the way that I do it. I'm good to pick up from where they left off, and we can continue on. Like that is the dream as a freelancer, in my opinion. Picking up an old client, you it's typical that you get the whole thing where it's like, why are they what is, like, you just go in with confusion. So any way that we can standardize it, cut out the boilerplate, cut out the repetitive things that everyone has to do just to create a page, I am all for it. I want to speed you up as much as possible and make it so that you are shipping sites quickly, moving on to the next client, making your editors happy. Like, anything that we can do there, let us know. If there's lots of good ideas in chat, keep those coming, because we're listening. The only thing that's stopping us from implementing them is, like, we are only human. We can only build so many features at a time, and we're working on big ones right now. So never want chat to think that we're not listening. It's just a matter of, like, prioritization. So right now, as Côme said, we're looking to page types as kind of the next big thing, because that's kind of what most people are building with. And I'm excited for the improvement that's going to bring to Slice Machine and just the building process in general.
Yeah, and by the way, if you want to learn early about when these are available for testing, well, as always, you can help us out as well. There are a lot of sessions that we do for user testing and user research, and you can subscribe to these, and then you will be able first to learn about these early, and then to help us and have an opinion, give us your opinion about what we're building.
Yeah.
So I guess it's time that we. You wanted to add something.
No, I would just wanted to wrap up on the kind of news for the quarter. Yes. So page types, yes, and also we are in the middle of a bit more technical work at the moment that we call plugins projects. And what does it mean? It means that we are actually improving the way we support frameworks in the Slice Machine code base. What it means for users and for you, it means that in the future it will be easier for Slice Machine to support a new framework, or to better support the current framework that we support. So that means, like, in the near future, for example, we'll support Next 3 and Next 13. So I'm pretty sure that next quarter we'll be able to
And
support
that
this.
answers also some of the
Cool.
questions we had in the chat of people are like asking when are we going to support these, and
Yeah.
that's the work that we did to be able to support the new versions much more much
Exactly.
faster, right?
So yeah. So I can actually say that we will support them for the next quarter, so next 3 and next 13.
Cool.
But later on, maybe other frameworks also. So that's the door is open with this new infrastructure. Door is open to better framework support.
Much quicker,
Yeah.
support.
So so that's the news for the quarter, but also like maybe new starters. We're working on the onboarding for new users to make sure that they get like the instructions easier and they get that process very smooth to just create a repository, install Slice Machine, and just get started in a few minutes. So yeah, that's it.
That's already a lot of things.
I do just want to clarify. This is like a super small point. We do currently support Next.13. The site that we just built is Next.13. It's the app directory and the new router and React server components and everything that came with Next.13 on that side. If there are Next developers in the chat, you'll know that there's like a pages way of building, and now there's an app way of building. We don't yet support the beta app feature, which uses React server components, partly because it is still in beta and that API is changing as we speak. And so we kind of want to make sure that it's settled down before we build towards it. So we will have support for that, maybe May-ish, right? But maybe sooner. But Next 3 should be within the month, Côme? Is that safe to say, you think? Cool. So Next 3 like pretty soon. Yeah. And then the Next.13 app directory support, that is coming within the next couple months. So not to nitpick you, Côme, just want to make sure people aren't like, you don't support Next.13. We do, just not that completely new way of building. Yeah. So it's a little trickier. So.
Well, that's great.
Yep. Great.
Yeah. Can I toss some just like you did point out TypeScript. We automatically generate types as you create, update, or rename a slice or a custom type. So as you're working in Slice Machine, we are not making you change your types around. It's all built there for you. And the best part, if you don't use TypeScript, we're still getting benefits from it, because that then falls back to JS doc, and it allows you to still know the shape of your data as you type. So if you type slice dot VS Code or whatever you're using, should fill that in. And so even if you're not using TypeScript yourself, because we are using TypeScript both in our SDKs and with the Prismic types package, you are getting a benefit, and it's a lot easier. You don't have to console log and guess what the shape of this thing is. It's just right there for you. So even if you're not a TypeScript user, you're going to really enjoy the upgrade. And that's been there since September, but I want to make sure everyone's kind of aware of it. And just have a note, to learn more about TypeScript generation and usage with your Slice Machine project, we have docs on Slice Machine TypeScript documentation. I'll try to drop that in chat. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you for listening.
Thanks,
Alex. No, thanks, Alex. Very, very interesting. And now I know also it's useful not only for TypeScript people, but also for JavaScript people. So
that's one of the best parts. And just before I go, just want to say one more thanks to Hamid.
Absolutely.
Really, but I do want to point out, like, he worked like all of yesterday and maybe even the day before putting this together, making sure that he was able to build it out. Like he put a ton of work in. He's a fantastic educator, good guy. Had a lot of fun chatting with him and getting to work on this a little bit with him. So yeah, I just want to say, like, it's wonderful to have people like you in the community, man. Really, really thrilled to be able to have you on the stream. And yeah, I hope this is not the last time that we get you on, because first off, you got a great setup, gorgeous background and everything. It's just fun to look at. But also you're a great educator. I'm excited to see what else you build. And when your course comes out, we would love to plug it. So thanks again, man.
Thank you very much for having me. I was super stoked to join you guys on the team. I've been using Prismic. I've been in the trenches, in the docs. That's why I created the video in the first place to just share what I learned. And it's a great experience to be here. Hopefully we get to do this more. Thank you again for everyone for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Anil.
Thanks a lot. Well, that wraps it up for this time. Well, next Prismic Meetup is going to be in April 26th of April, actually, and we'll be hosting the tech lead of agency that is called Use All 5, located in LA, and you know, we're going to talk about how they choose their stack for their projects, how they refined actually their development workflow, and all of that to be able to be more productive in producing a branded, performant website with a page builder, an experience that we saw today. So see you in the next time. That's in somehow 1 month time.
Yeah.
And thanks a lot for being here, and see you next time.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Everywhere I look around, I see the same faces. Everyone looks to the ground, it seems they have no wishes. If you don't want to surrender and get down in the sorrow, I can make the things better. Sun must shine tomorrow. Music, 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 music is the answer. It makes you groove the best ever. Your move gets better. Music, 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 music is the answer. Trust me, brother, and trust me, sister, 'cause music is the answer.